It's the Playhouse Podcast with Kat and JJ.
Believe it. I missed everything.
Missed the show?
What am I going to do?
Check out the Daily Podcast.
Kat's grandma Ellie is 95 years old, and she has got some amazing stories to tell. Now, she loves her orange juice, and she loves her toast, and she was eating a taco. So it kind of got all mesh-mashed together, but these stories will live on forever through her grandma. And if you missed it earlier this morning, we gave you just a quick sample of it. That's coming up a little bit later on in the podcast. Here we go. If there was a nickname that you were given that you would absolutely have hated, what would yours be?
I don't know. Like, as an adult, if someone called me Whiskers, I'd be a little upset. So I, much like a lot of women that are approaching their 40s, will catch themselves in their rearview mirror like, where the hell did those come from? And then you have your in-car tweezers at hand. So
you can pluck without a mirror?
No, your rearview mirror. You're looking at it and you're like, oh my God.
So instead of being safe and using that for, safe driving,
you're
using
at the
it
stoplight. You have nothing to do but pluck your whiskers.
When I was in 5th grade, a kid moved to our town, and he had a locker right next to mine, and he was a little bit introverted, right? And when you go to a new school, it's a little scary. And I remember the first day, I said, "Oh, hey, you're new here. What's your name?" And he goes, and I go, "Do you talk just like Beaker from the Muppets?"
And that's
and he had red hair.
Oh,
and somebody else overheard it, and they're like, "That kid's name is Beaker?" And I'm like, "No, it's Jason." But it stuck into his, right now.
Yeah.
And I had maybe a week ago, I saw him post something, and he doesn't really go online much, but he had posted, "All right, I'm 50, enough with the nickname."
Well,
and I was like, oh my God.
He's had it.
Yeah.
Your name is on a list somewhere.
For sure, if this guy ever saw me, he'd push me down the stairs. But I thought, all right, is there anyone else that's rolling with an unflattering nickname? I give kids nicknames that I coach all the time.
You got to be careful with kids.
Yeah.
They're sensitive nowadays. Well,
and so I'll always go, is that okay with you? And if they're like, yeah, it's fine. And sometimes they catch, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But we had my youngest son played youth baseball with a kid, and he always had the black horn rim glasses, and he looked just like Squints from The Sandlot.
Yeah.
And that stuck with him now. He still looks the same, and he embraced it, right? He loved it. He was like, "Oh, I'm Squints," right?
Yeah.
And what was funny is we'd go to other cities and play other towns, and as soon as you said, "All right, come on, Squints," everybody right away, "Oh, what a great nickname," right? So it wasn't mean.
Right.
He just looked like a kid from the movies. Now, Terry, somebody that's got a nickname they're not very fond of?
Well, it was a nickname that my husband gave one of my brother's buddies drunkenly, and nobody knows his name is actually Tanner.
Okay.
So what is his nickname?
Billy. Billie.
Why?
I don't know. My husband we weren't married at the time, so this was 10, 15 years ago, and it was my brother's graduation party. And for some reason, my boyfriend at the time, thought it'd be hilarious to start calling Tanner Billy, Billie, and he kept spelling it that way.
Yeah.
And fast forward 10, 15 years, we were at another event where Billy was, and everyone's calling him Billy, and his 80-year-old grandma goes, "I don't understand why no one calls him Tanner anymore."
Yeah.
So it's to the point that everyone in his family also calls him Billy.
Yeah,
And
your husband has a lot of influence on people if he can change someone's name completely, not even to a nickname, but another name.
And you never got the story as to why Billy?
Well, because the joke was my husband, he's a different individual, and his dad's name is William, and so when him and his dad would get drunk, he'd call him Billy.
Yeah.
And so for whatever reason, he just started calling Tanner Billy, and like I said, to this day, nobody calls him Tanner, not even in his family. It's Billy.
Do we have any texts coming in?
Yeah, so Morgan said as a kid in high school, some kids started calling her not Morgan, but Morgasm.
Oh.
So there was one. Leah says, my mother-in-law, she lives with us, and I started calling her Haggy, and now it's her name now. So I wonder what the story is behind that. You got to text in, Leo. So continue to text in or give us a ring. What was your nickname that stuck? Got these funny texts coming in. Dawn said that people her whole life have called her dish soap. So she's had to work with that. And then Ariel says, mine is Earl. was working as a CNA in a nursing home, and one of the other CNAs yelled for me down the hall, and it sounded like Earl, and so it stuck for about 15 years. So
that's great.
That's what I'm saying. You have to be there when the nickname is developed.
Natasha, how are we feeling this morning?
I am good.
What do we call you if we're really, really intimately knowing you? What do we call you?
Well, see, when I was 9 or 10, the movie Dances with Wolves came out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And in the movie, they said Tatanka, which is buffalo. And I've always been a fluffy girl. And all of a sudden, my dad, he couldn't pronounce Tatanka for whatever reason. So he called me Tonka Butt. So buffalo butt.
Your dad.
And my dad.
Oh.
And, my friends would be around and he'd yell, Tonka. And so that was my name all the way up until he passed a couple years ago. He called me Tonka.
Oh, my God. I'm sure adolescent, that was fun to have people call you Tonka Butt.
And then you had to explain to him. It translates to buffalo butt.
Yeah.
Right. And I was so embarrassed because, back then I was insecure about being fluffy. Today I embrace it, but it was definitely hard. And it's funny that you said Bubba. I call my second daughter, she's now 22. I call her Bubba. She's been Bubba her whole life.
It's a rough one for a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she was this chubby little thing when she was a baby, and she would do this bouncy thing. And I don't know why I started doing it. I called her Bubba Gump Shrimp at first.
Yeah.
And then Bubba's the rest of her life.
All right.
Why do people do this with their kids and their animals? It just gets weird. Now, let's go back to your dad, Tonka Butt. And was this one of those things that was like, you'd said he passed? Was that one of those things that like actually gave you comfort because you had something, it was like your thing with your dad when he passed?
Yeah, and when I was older, it was something nobody else called me it. It was specifically just him. Everybody would laugh about it when they would hear it. But yeah, it was definitely something that was specifically him and I, and although it drove me crazy when I was younger, it was.
Yeah.
Well, the rule of the show now is once we know something about you, every time you call our show now, you can't say this is Natasha. You have to go, hey, it's Tonka Butt.
I'm going to text him, Mrs. Tonka.
Yes,
perfect.
Thank you. Have a great morning. We appreciate you.
Tell me something good.
Okay, why don't you tell us something good?
Good news. I got in on a flash sale for Liam's basketball training and saved myself $1,000 for the year.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh, that just feels so good to pay it off all at once. Then you don't have to worry about it for 1 year. Get $1,000 off. I love that. So that would be my something good. What about you?
Tell me something good.
Well, it's my daughter Reagan's birthday today,
wow.
And
21.
I said first off, shred your fake ID. That's going to be bad times in the near future.
Yeah.
But she, you look at all your kids a little bit differently, and they all offer you something. And I was thinking about it this morning. She's just, for me, everything that happens, has a purpose. But she's what's good in the world. Every time I just think about, anything that's not amazing in your life, I look at her and I go, you know what? You're what's good in the world. For me,
so nice.
She just recenters everything. She's just a good kid, and I'm really proud of her. So happy birthday, Reagan.
Tell me something good.
Let's talk to Sarah real quick. What's good in your life?
I have a healthy family, and I've learned not to take things for granted very much in my life.
Wow, that's good. A lot of people wait maybe a little bit too long to reach that point, to really realize that you have a lot to be grateful for, huh?
Absolutely.
Tell me something good.
So why don't you tell us something good? I want you to text us right now. Just think of one good thing that's going on in your life. A lot of people go, yeah, I'm healthy, or my family's well. Outside of that, though, is there something specific that really, really makes you go, yeah, it's good to be alive today? As we're talking about things you were bribed to do as a kid. So as I brought this up, any memories come through?
Yes. Excuse me.
It's okay.
That was delicious. I remember, and you probably didn't have it when you were in grade school, but
Money?
in fifth grade, no, there was these readathons.
Yeah, we had that.
But did you get the fluffy little guys that would sit on your desk?
No, we just got rewarded by raising our education.
But then no matter how many fluffy guys you got, then you could have a personal pan pizza at Pizza Hut. Okay. So, and then there was a huge palooza at the end of the school year. If you read a certain amount of books, then you can go pick out some cool stuff with the Scholastic Book Fair, stuff like that. My mom and dad never stayed on us. And so she was like, listen, if you do this, I'll get you all the Barbies that you want. I was a Barbie freak. Jeez. And so I got the astronaut Barbie, the scuba Barbie. I got the teacher Barbie, all because I would pick at my book list. So that was it. I needed to be bribed. And even to this day, need to be bribed to read. Don't enjoy it. It's not my thing.
We had gotten this call from Brian, and I want to air it back for you because this is kind of the ultimate bribe, and it really seemed to mirror my parents wanting me to be in the what the hell is it called again?
National
Honor Society. And I was just like, those aren't my people, Mom.
That just sounds so snobby when you say that.
But it's not.
Like,
it wasn't.
Aren't my
they were
people.
way better, and I'm sure they have way better lives than I do right now.
Yeah,
way better. They were so smart, but I was like, that just wasn't my vibe. I wanted to hang around with my friends that were dumb like me. So when we asked Brian, like, what was the bribe?
When I was in 7th grade, like I was an athlete. Like I played baseball. Like I did all this stuff, and like I was hanging out with an interesting crowd. Like a lot of jocks. My parents were like, you got to hang out with more dorks.
Okay,
you know, more like. They didn't say that, but that's who they were.
But
like,
it's good to get to know everybody, you know? You don't have to stick with just your people.
So your parents bribed you to hang out with other types of people, like who?
They bought me a dirt bike to go into musical theater.
Okay.
So all you had to do was do the school play, and they bought you a bike?
I had to do the school play, and let me tell you, I did the school play, they got me the dirt bike, and I went around there just knocking scripts out of people's hands.
So it didn't even accomplish anything.
But you got the bike.
Oh, I got the bike, and I was brapping around town like no one's business.
See, this is what, as a parent, you think it's the right thing to get your kid to expand their horizons. You want to put a carrot in front of that donkey, and then this kind of stuff happens.
It could work in your favor. They could start reading and learn to love it, and then you wouldn't have to bribe them with Barbies anymore. But most of the time, that's not the case.
Tuesday morning on our live show, Bare Naked Ladies tickets for you. Our final pair at 7:20. This show is going to be at the Ledge in Waite Park on Father's Day. So if you want our last tickets, 7:20 Tuesday morning. And then at about 8:20, we've got to put $50,000 in your pocket. So it's going to be a big day Tuesday. You should join us. In the meantime, let's wrap up our podcast. Grandma Ellie is how old now?
95. And she doesn't get out of the house much anymore. They used to toot around town and go to appointments and stuff. And now my grandfather just kind of hangs out in the basement, and they, still have their wine together and watch their shows. But I'm like, what do you need to get done? I'll buzz over and we'll run some errands. So we took her van over because it has her wheelchair, and went over to the Dollar General for a big outing yesterday, and went to the card aisle. She had to get a bunch of cards. And then she wanted some lunch from a taco joint in town. So we grabbed that. And then we went back and just kind of had a conversation at her dining room table. And I was like, I'm going to kick myself for not recording these moments.
Does she know you're recording this stuff?
No, that's the best part. She's not hip to anything like that. So normal people would be like, why is there a phone facing me propped up against a glass, And
but she's just oblivious to it.
Yeah, and so I pressed record, and I'll always have this audio, which makes me happy. But she was talking about the depression. She has a ration book still, and she weighs as much as she does now that when she was 12, back during
that's
the
bananas.
depression. Yeah, and it shows how much you were allowed to eat, and then how much you had to give to the government as rations. And so it's so interesting to see. And so
it was all because we were poor.
Mm-hmm. She's eating tacos.
Okay.
That's crazy. Isn't that where the saying, we didn't have a pot to piss in, came from? Was it
probably
that era?
Or a window to throw it out of.
Oh, yeah.
That's the rest of it.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. When you ran with a pot to pee in or a window to throw it out.
Well,
that orange juice, she just has it sit in her fridge.
What year was that?
Oh, it was quite a few years. It was in the 30s. Mm-hmm. And then the war happened.
How cute is she?
And then that changed things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that discussion continued for just a few more minutes. What
I love is when old people don't create saliva, and they gotta chew and smack so much
my whole
just
life,
to get it down.
Like she has beautiful manicured nails. She's very put together still at 95, but she'll always lick her finger and grab everything
crumbs?
off the.
Nothing goes to waste.
All around the plate, anything lettuce or cheese. So I was watching that. So I was trying not to
lived
get that.
through the depression, I mean, God, just think of just what she's lived through, right?
Yeah.
You had to ration your food. The war hit. She was an airline attendant for
Delta
for how many years?
Probably like 15, but that's how she saw the world. She and my grandfather have seen the world like twice. And so she's lived through it, but she said back in the day, those were scary times. But right now, she's never been more scared.
Really?
Yes.
Now,
How interesting is that?
Because of the government in charge right now, because of technology, because of the threat of nuclear war, what is she most scared of?
Most of all who's in charge.
Okay.
She's very nervous when it comes to her Social Security. That's their only income, they don't really have any bills except for Netflix and their lights. And so everything's paid off, but she's like, that's my only income. And I'm like, they're not going to take it. They're looking for people that would be like 175.
I read a little bit more about this weekend, and it's not so much that people that are 150 or supposedly are getting Social Security. It's because of the way it was written back in the day. It's like it's not the way code is written for computers right now. It's old code. And I can't remember exactly what the term is or whatever. It's like cobalt or something like that, cobot. Right. But it's old stuff. So it just meant you're in the system. You're not necessarily getting checks, right? So I think they'll figure that out rather quickly. But I don't think your grandparents probably have anything to worry about.
I would suggest videotaping your grandparents, or asking them questions about stuff, because when they're gone, they're gone. They won't be able to tell you certain things anymore. So just do it in secret.
What I think would be great is you could get your grandma and grandpa a couple of little Rode mics and have them just on the daily, just talk for 15 minutes and record, because your grandpa's pretty savvy as far as the technology goes. All he'd have to do is hit record,
right,
and just have them talk for 15 minutes about their memories. And then every day it would just, you end up just compounding. And then 10 years from right now, you'll be able to go back and look at that. And you'll be like, oh my gosh, think about this. This is what happened in the 1930s. This is what happened in the 1940s. World War I was going on. And this is what my grandparents were thinking and living.
And then she was talking about how all the women had to go work in factories. All the men were sent to fight. All the women had to build the planes. And then she's like, and then they come back and oppress us for how many more years?
Oh, she was at it.
We built your freaking planes. And
was she at the forefront of all the women's lib stuff, like in the 60s?
No. I mean, she was obviously like one of those gals that no one's going to tell me what to do, but I don't know.
Did she have a favorite president?
She had to. Didn't ask her about that.
Oh, that's
Maybe
what
that's my next sesh.
What was your favorite president? What was your favorite vehicle you owned?
Yeah.
She probably had they had a 1937 Packard or something like that.
They had a convertible she was a dish, like she had that pointy bra like Madonna, and she wore those cute little sweaters. And then they'd run into like John Newman at, that's his name, right?
Paul Newman, maybe?
Paul Newman,
okay.
yes. Paul Newman. It was her
John
biggest
Newman
crush.
lives in Zumbrota.
But he would always be at like the same campgrounds as them.
Really?
Yeah. So she has pictures with him.
That's so cool.
I know. So I've been selling a lot of stuff on Facebook Marketplace. There's a lot of stuff. I just walked around my house. I'm like, we don't need this. We don't use this. We don't need this. So I'm trying to get rid of it all. One being this log framed bed. If you are in the market for it, call me. I'll give you a great deal.
Radio for this.
Yes, I am. But I am so sick of the ghosting. It is out of control. And I know that your wife had such good luck with it when she was selling all of
She didn't tell you how
stuff.
Bad it was.
Was it really bad?
It's bad.
Is it worse than it has ever been? Because I can't imagine being that rude to another human being of asking, is this still available? Someone says, yes, are you interested? They say, yes, can I pick it up on Friday? Then you have your husband take it apart and put it in the garage. And then they never, ever talk to you again.
This happened to us 200 times.
I'm so over it.
When we bought our new place, we bought it fully furnished. And we had to basically sell everything in our home and everything in our cabin. And the amount of people that said, and this was my wife really loved this, because she would be going into work and I'd be done at the show. I'd be out of here by noon, right? I'd be home. Hey, someone's coming to pick this up at 2:15.
Yeah.
So there's me standing there waiting and waiting and waiting. Nobody shows up. Someone's picking this up at 3 o'clock. There's me standing. I mean,
I
I've
don't
wasted
get it.
so much time looking out my front door with a crate or a picture or something dopey in my hands.
If your name is Jennifer or Jessica or Christy, David, Alyssa, Lauren, or Jennifer. Oh, there's 2 Jennifers that I don't like now. And Kelly, just want to let you know that if you are asking if an item that I'm selling,
what are you getting
is
for
available,
the bed?
I'll just literally, I'll take $50 off. I don't even care. You just come and get it.
What are you asking for it, though?
Like 100. It's a lot. It's amazing quality.
What size?
It's a queen.
Nope.
Nope. Just kidding. It's a full.
Oh, that's why. You don't even know what you're selling.
It's a full / queen, maybe. But it's so well made. We just don't need it in that room anymore. I want to get a new bed frame. And then if you want the mattress and the box spring, it's yours for free. I won't even charge for it. Literally just need you to come get it. But I'm just so
this is a
upset.
new low.
You did the same thing with your home.
No, I tried to sell a house.
You tried to sell a house and a cabin.
I mentioned that my properties were for sale. I didn't go line by line.
This is just as much my show as it is yours. And if I want to sell a log cabin bed frame or a stool that looks like a tampon.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
What else do I have?
You were so big on that tampon stool. That was such a big thing.
But I don't have use for it anymore.
Oh, put it in the front entryway. Everybody will love it.
Oh, vintage dresser. Those are the only 3 things that I have to move, like, out of my house. Like, get them out of my house. And
So here's what I would encourage you to do. Find Kat on Facebook. Tell her you're going to pick it up today at 3 o'clock, and then don't show up.
See how far that gets. I will find you. I am the queen.
She will call you out on the radio.
Creeping. I will find where you work.
So have you done that with the people that haven't shown up? Have you gone and lit them up?
No, but you know what I did notice? There's a lot of like misspellings and bad use of punctuation. Is this somebody that is just like, are there trolls out there that just do this?
3rd grade education.
No, that's not it. Like, I don't know what the deal is, but I can tell when someone is truly interested.
I'd be interested to see how many other people have suffered through this because I know my wife did. It drove her crazy. We ended up throwing a lot of it away.
Yeah, I'm just really discouraged as to how many people are okay with wasting other people's time instead of just messaging. Not interested anymore. Thank you so much.
You know it's going to get worse now that you said this, right?
Kimberly.
Of Jennifers. If you were to be able to, like your kids do, go to a camp in the summer for a week, what kind of camp would you want it to be as an adult?
So as an adult, I have actually thought about this, and I think I could make this happen for a lot of women. I think we'd have a lot of fun, but it would be like an R&R camp. So an adult art rest and relaxation.
Like what do you
That's
do?
literally all you do. So 8 a.m. you wake up, okay? Then you have a light breakfast, walk through the woods, 10 a.m. some type of craft session, potted plants. You know how you make those big wood welcome signs that everyone has at their front door? You could do that if you want to. Noon, a healthy lunch, massage to follow. Then a nap, 5 p.m. cocktail hour, 7 p.m. you make your own charcuterie board. Then you eat that in front of a bonfire, another cocktail hour, and then you sleep for 10 hours. I think that overworked, overstimulated women would pay $2,000 for 4 days to do that. And I would gladly take their money.
So you get there Monday.
Yep.
You go through the process. You really do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday you bounce out.
Yeah. I think people would buy into that.
Would this have to be at like a scenic lake area?
All about property. That is going to be where the appeal comes in, but also the amenities. You know, I need a clean bathroom for them. I need nice down comforters. You know, that what women are paying for, I need them to know that their money is worth it.
Well, the reason I bring this up is I saw, you know, and kids they've got a million different camps, right? But adult camps are now all the fad. And the big one that people are talking about is called Joy Camp.
Okay.
All right. Joy Camp is the world's first Science of Joy retreat hosted by me, quote, the party scientist.
Oh, okay.
This guy's name is Jacques. All right. So Joy Camps are a little bit different. They're restricted to 30 people. They focus on getting happier and less sad. They feature communal living, smartphone, and drug-free. So at Joy Camp, lost me
Not with
at
the drugs. But no, the phone. I want to have my phone.
It has 4 modules. Campers practice every skill in drill, and then they play games. So the first module is create joy through the mind.
Yeah.
So you overcome self-sabotage and stuff. The second one, create joy through your body. So create emotional safety for others.
Uh-huh.
And then there's also the joy through your relationships. So you create emotional safety for others as well.
Okay.
And then joy through your community. You embody the architecture of hosting something big in your community.
I'm all about this. So if we could combine that and my camp, that could change some lives. You know, some people don't have the tools on how to reset and think a different way, and they're in a rut. But then if you go somewhere for like 4 or 5 days and get the tools to use, can you imagine how good of a human being you will be? So you're like, oh, I feel bad about leaving my kids for a week. Don't feel bad, because you're going to come back and you're going to be a better person for it. And they're going to have fun without you. Send them to grandma and grandpa's, and then go and better yourself.
I know a dude in his mid-60s that still goes to the baseball fantasy camps and plays. So he had played high school ball, amateur ball, and I think maybe even played in college. And he still goes and does this stuff with people his age.
Yeah.
And Major League Baseball teams host these things. And you jet down to Florida, and you get your uniform. You have a big dinner with all these former Major League Baseball players.
Yeah.
And then throughout the week, you play games.
Why don't you do that?
Here's the reason. Number one is I can't just shut it down. Like, if I knew that this coming December, I was going to a fantasy baseball camp, I would start training today. And when I showed up, the fastball would be at 88.
Uh-huh.
The swing would be dialed in.
Would you have those dreams that they're going to say, let's sign this guy?
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem
part.
Is I would be all in so much. And then when we get to the situation, let's just say it's me and a bunch of other guys that are my age. And they're all trying to have fun and relive their high school days.
You're too competitive.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. My wife asked me, is this something you'd want? And of course, I think it would be a great experience. But I know me, and it would be miserable for everyone else. I wouldn't make a single friend. It would be too much. I wouldn't be able to do it. So I started thinking, if we could open up a camp for adults, what camp would you want to go to? Text us real quick.